I have not been working for quite a few years. I've been dealing with cancer.
America's Got Talent star Nightbirde has passed away at the age of 31 after battling cancer.
For years, America's Got Talent has been the stage where dreams ignite and stars are born. But behind the cheers and golden buzzers, some of its brightest performers faced endings no one could foresee.
America's Got Talent star Kabir Singh has died. Kabir's fiancée confirmed his death to People, revealing the comedian died on Wednesday.
From voices that moved millions to young talents with boundless promise, their journeys were cut tragically short. Who were they, and what legacies did they leave behind? Join us as we reveal the stories of 10 beloved AGT members who passed away too soon. Number 10. Jane Marczewski. For millions who watched America's Got Talent, Jane Marczewski, known worldwide as Nightbirde, was more than a performer. She was a poet of resilience, a woman who turned pain into something eternal. Born on December 29, 1990 in Zanesville, Ohio, Jane discovered music early. As a child, she poured her thoughts into lyrics, hoping her songs would reach people quietly and sincerely, songs that would outlive pain itself. While studying at Liberty University, she began performing locally and recorded her first EP, Lines, in 2012, followed by Ocean and Sky in 2013. Both were self-funded, driven purely by her determination. After graduation, she stayed in Lynchburg to keep performing before returning to Ohio. In 2015, she moved to Nashville with her husband, musician Jeremy Claudio, and together they made music under her married name, Jane Claudio. That same year, she contributed to the documentary Leonard Knight, A Man and His Mountain, revealing her early gift for storytelling through sound. Life soon tested that gift. In 2017, Jane was diagnosed with breast cancer. After enduring a year of treatment, she was declared cancer-free, only for it to return 2 years later, more aggressive than before. Doctors gave her 3 to 6 months to live. Against the odds, by 2020, she entered remission again. But when the cancer returned once more in 2021, spreading to her liver, spine, and lungs, she was told she had a 2% chance of survival. It was around this time that she became Nightbirde, a name inspired by a dream of birds singing in the dark before dawn, singing as if morning had already come. That dream became her symbol of hope, her reminder that even when life felt unbearable, she could still be a voice of light before the sunrise. Her music transformed with her journey, from the warm folk-pop tones of her early work to the delicate, ethereal sound of her later songs. Nightbirde's art became the reflection of her spirit, fragile yet radiant. In 2019, she released Girl in a Bubble, and in 2020, during remission, she wrote It's Okay, a song born of heartbreak, loss, and survival. It was the song she said she needed to hear, and one she hoped others might need too. In 2021, she stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage, thin, calm, and glowing with quiet defiance. When asked about her health, she spoke with silent strength, reminding the world that she was more than the bad things that had happened to her. Then she sang, It's Okay. Her voice, soft, trembling, yet sure, filled the theater.
All my problems, they would stay behind.
When the final note faded, silence gave way to awe, and Simon Cowell pressed the golden buzzer. As gold confetti fell, it felt like dawn breaking through the dark. Her audition went viral overnight. The song reached #1 on iTunes and trended across YouTube and Billboard charts. Millions were drawn to her courage and her words. You can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy, which became a global mantra of strength. Behind the scenes, her condition worsened, forcing her to withdraw from the competition. Yet her impact only deepened. Many believed she could have won it all, and later, America's Got Talent named her golden buzzer moment the greatest in the show's history. On February 19, 2022, surrounded by family in California, Jane Marczewski's battle ended. She was 31. Her memorial, live-streamed from her hometown in Ohio, drew thousands whose lives she had touched through her music. But her story didn't end there. Her family established the Nightbirde Foundation to support women facing breast cancer. Her songs continued to live on, Brave, Fly, and her debut album, It's Okay. In 2025, 3 years after her death, a 12-track posthumous album titled Still Got Dreams was released, blending her original vocals with AI-assisted production to preserve her artistic vision. The title track featured South Africa's Mzansi Youth Choir, the same group that later received the first-ever audience golden buzzer for performing It's Okay on AGT. Nightbirde's music has been featured in films, plays, and tributes worldwide. From a voice that lit up the darkness to one that captivated millions, this next story proves how raw talent can touch the soul like nothing else. Number 9. Christina Grimmie. Born on March 12, 1994 in Marlton, New Jersey, Christina Grimmie grew up in a loving home shadowed by quiet struggles. Her mother's long fight with breast cancer shaped her compassion and inner strength, while her father, who worked tirelessly to provide for the family, was the first to see that his daughter's voice carried something beyond ordinary, something that reached straight into the soul. Music quickly became her refuge. By 6, she was singing along to Disney songs. By 10, she was teaching herself piano entirely by ear, replaying melodies perfectly after hearing them only once. Every note became her language, her way of expressing emotions too deep for words. At 15, while many were still searching for identity, Christina had already found hers. Her stage was YouTube. Under the username ZeldaxLove-64, she uploaded her first cover. A simple, unfiltered video of a girl singing from her bedroom. No lighting, no production, just honesty and talent. The internet noticed. Her covers of Party in the USA and Just a Dream, recorded with Sam Sui and Kurt Hugo Schneider, exploded online, garnering millions of views. Her channel grew at a pace even she couldn't believe. Yet fame never changed her. She laughed with fans, replied to comments, and ended every video with a message of love and kindness that became her signature. Her growing success caught the attention of Selena Gomez's stepfather, Brian Tiffy, who soon became her manager. That partnership opened new doors, tours with Selena Gomez and The Scene, high-profile appearances, and a spot at the American Music Awards pre-show. Her debut EP, Find Me, released in 2011, climbed Billboard charts, marking her transition from YouTube sensation to emerging global artist. Then came Season 6 of The Voice. In 2014, Christina walked onto the stage and performed Wrecking Ball with a power and purity that stopped the judges cold. All 4 chairs turned. She chose Adam Levine, who recognized the extraordinary star she was becoming. Week after week, she delivered fearless performances, ultimately finishing 3rd. Though she didn't win the trophy, she won something far greater: the love and loyalty of millions. After The Voice, her career continued to rise. She released singles like Must Be Love and the EP Side A, toured across the country, and began working on her next album. No matter how high she climbed, she stayed grounded. After every show, she waited to meet fans, every single one, offering hugs, gratitude, and warmth that made everyone feel seen. But fame also drew a darker kind of attention. On June 10, 2016, Christina performed at the Plaza Live in Orlando, Florida, as part of her tour with the band Before You Exit. The night ended in celebration, with her voice soaring and her smile lighting up the room. After the concert, she stayed behind as always to meet her fans. Around 100 people waited in line. Among them was a 27-year-old man named Kevin James Loibel, a stranger she had never met. He wasn't there for music. For years, he had followed her online, building a dangerous obsession. That night, he came armed with 2 handguns, extra magazines, and a hunting knife. At 10:24 that evening, when his turn came, Christina opened her arms to welcome him. He pulled the trigger. 3 shots. Her brother Marcus tackled him instantly, but Loibel broke free and took his own life. It was over in moments. Christina was rushed to the hospital, but despite every effort, she was pronounced dead hours later. She was 22. The news devastated the world. Fans wept. Fellow artists grieved. Adam Levine offered to cover funeral expenses. Selena Gomez, heartbroken, broke down in tears on stage as she dedicated a song to the friend she had loved like family. Investigators later revealed that Loibel had been fixated on Christina for more than a year, altering his appearance, stalking her online, and sinking deeper into a delusion that ended in tragedy. Days later, thousands gathered in New Jersey to say goodbye. Her funeral was simple, filled with music, the language that had defined her life. Through tears, her brother Marcus spoke of her final act, opening her arms to someone she believed was a fan. Her family's grief was immeasurable, but they transformed it into purpose. They created the Christina Grimmie Foundation to help families touched by gun violence and breast cancer, the 2 greatest battles of her life. In 2017, her family released the posthumous EP Side B and the album All Is Vanity, a collection of songs recorded before her passing. Listening to them is like hearing her spirit live on, tender, powerful, and timeless. After witnessing Christina's unshakable resilience, meet the artist whose life and music were shaped by loss and the fight to survive. Number 8. Nolan Neal. As a boy growing up in Nashville, Nolan Neal's life changed the day his father took his own. That kind of loss doesn't fade, it lingers, shaping every breath, every note, every song that followed. Music became his anchor, the only way he knew to stay alive. When words failed, melodies carried the weight of everything he couldn't bring himself to say. By his 20s, he was chasing the dream that defined his city, the hope of turning pain into beauty. He recorded albums, toured with a rock band, and wrote songs that others turned into hits. From the outside, it looked like success. But behind the spotlight, Nolan was fighting a battle no one could see, one that never honestly stopped. Addiction crept in quietly, like a shadow that refused to leave. He told himself he had it under control. He smiled through interviews, sang through pain, and lived behind a mask of normalcy. In truth, he was drowning, and music was the only thing keeping him from disappearing altogether. Yet Nolan was a fighter. In 2016, he stepped onto the Voice stage and sang Drive by Incubus, a song about reclaiming control. His voice cracked open with emotion, raw, unfiltered, and honest. Adam Levine turned his chair, and for the first time, the world saw Nolan as he truly was, vulnerable, wounded, but fearless. He didn't win the season, but he won something more lasting, a connection. Millions finally heard the pain he had been carrying since childhood. 4 years later, he returned, this time on America's Got Talent, armed not with a cover, but with his own story and song. Sitting alone with his guitar, Nolan performed Lost, a song written during his sobriety. Every word was carved from truth, every chord from survival. The audience fell silent, moved by his honesty. For Nolan, that moment wasn't about fame. It was about redemption, about showing that brokenness could still shine. But the darkness he had spent years trying to outrun wasn't gone. Addiction waits, patient and relentless. And on July 18, 2022, it caught him one last time. Nolan Neal was found lifeless in his Nashville apartment. He was 41. The medical examiner ruled it an accidental overdose, a mix of morphine, methamphetamine, fentanyl, and acetylfentanyl. On the desk beside him was a black guitar pick dusted with powder, a quiet, heartbreaking symbol of the battle he never stopped fighting. The news of his death sent shockwaves through the music world. Fans mourned, artists grieved, and the industry paused in disbelief. Those who knew him remembered a kind, humble, and endlessly hopeful man, a father, a friend, a light that burned even when flickering. From someone who used song to battle inner demons, we now move to someone whose gift for healing extended through both medicine and music. Number 7. Brandon Rogers. From the moment anyone met Brandon Rogers, they could suddenly feel his warmth, his calm, and a rare kind of kindness that made many believe the world could be gentler. He could heal with his hands, and he could heal with his voice. Born in Portsmouth, Virginia, when he was 6, his mother was in a terrible accident. Paramedics arrived to help, but young Brandon noticed something that changed him forever. They treated her like a case, not a person. Even though she recovered, he never forgot the coldness of that day. He made a quiet promise to himself. He would become the kind of doctor who truly cared, one who treated every patient with humanity and heart. Brandon kept that promise. He worked relentlessly, studying first at the University of Virginia, where he earned his degree in religious studies in 2009, and later at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, where he graduated in 2015. He specialized in family medicine, completing an internship at Southampton Hospital before joining Riverside Brentwood Medical Center in Newport News, Virginia, as a resident physician. His patients called him Riverside's singing doctor, not only for his skill but also for the way he made them feel seen, comforted, and cared for. Medicine was his calling, but music was his soul. So between hospital shifts, Brandon poured his emotions into song. One evening, he recorded a simple cover of Boyz II Men's On Bended Knee and posted it online. It was never meant for fame. It was just a way to share what he loved. But the world took notice. The video went viral, catching the attention of Boyz II Men themselves, who invited him to perform with them in Las Vegas. For Brandon, singing alongside the group that inspired him as a boy was a dream realized. That same video also reached the producers of America's Got Talent. In March 2017, Brandon stepped onto the AGT stage and performed Stevie Wonder's Ribbon in the Sky. His voice was both powerful and tender, and by the time he finished, the audience was on its feet. All 4 judges, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, Mel B, and Simon Cowell, said yes. For Brandon, it felt like a new beginning. He was ready to share his gift with the world, but life had other plans. Just weeks before his audition was set to air, tragedy struck. On June 10, 2017, after singing the national anthem at a hospital graduation ceremony, Brandon joined friends on a drive to a family event in Maryland. The driver fell asleep at the wheel. Their car veered off the road and struck a tree. Brandon, sitting in the front passenger seat, suffered critical injuries. He passed away the next day. He was 29 years old. The news devastated everyone who knew him: his family, his colleagues, his friends from UVA, and the patients he had treated with such care. Tributes poured in from all corners. His close friends, like Dr. Elizabeth Johnson and Dr. Nicole Hyman, remembered him as the kind of person who never doubted anyone's potential, who carried others through their most challenging moments. Boys II Men called him a really good person and an excellent singer, mourning not only his talent, but the future the world would never see. America's Got Talent producers called his passing deeply heartbreaking, honoring the grace and kindness he brought to their stage, just as they would for the next mega talent. Number 6. Neal Boyd. Born on November 18, 1975 in Sikeston, Missouri, Neal grew up in a modest home where money was scarce but love ran deep. His mother, a single parent, worked tirelessly to raise Neal and his brother. Their family lived through hardship, but his mother's strength became his foundation. In junior high, a single moment changed everything. His brother brought home a CD of the Three Tenors for a school project. When Neal pressed play and heard the voices of Luciano Pavarotti and Placido Domingo, something inside him stirred. He was captivated. In a small town where few even listened to opera, Neal found his dream. He began imitating those great voices, practicing until his own echoed with their power and emotion. His friends didn't always understand his passion, but Neal didn't care. He had found something bigger than himself, something that gave meaning to every struggle. At Sikeston High School, Neal wasn't just a student. He was a leader, serving as senior class president before earning degrees in speech communications and music from Southeast Missouri State University and the University of Missouri. He later continued his studies at the New England Conservatory of Music and even earned a master's in management from the University of Phoenix. Through every step, he worked to balance education with survival, taking jobs as a teacher, an insurance salesman, and anything else that kept his dream alive. By 2008, Neal was working in insurance when he made a decision that would change his life. Without telling anyone, not even his mother, he drove to Chicago to audition for America's Got Talent. Standing in line among 20,000 hopefuls, he held on to one thought: this was his chance. When he finally stepped onto the stage, he began with Billy Joel's New York State of Mind and followed with The Prayer by Celine Dion and Andrea Bocelli. His voice, rich and commanding, silenced the room. But it was his performance of Nessun Dorma that turned him into a sensation. Midway through the song, the audience rose to its feet, swept up in the raw power of his voice and the emotion behind it. On October 1st, 2008, Neal Boyd stood under the lights of America's Got Talent's live finale. Millions watched as he sang Nessun Dorma one last time. When his name was announced as the winner, the crowd erupted. Placido Domingo himself sent a video message of congratulations, telling him he had brought opera to America's ears. Neal had won not just a show, but a moment in history. The victory came with a $1 million prize and a headlining show at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. His hometown declared October Neal E. Boyd Month, and he went on to release his debut album, My American Dream, in 2009 under Decca Records. The album reached the Billboard Top Classical chart, and Neal toured across the country alongside Britain's Got Talent winner Paul Potts. He performed for millions, including Presidents George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama. In 2010, he sang for President Obama in Missouri, a full-circle moment for a boy who once sang to his mother in their small living room. Even as fame grew, Neal stayed deeply rooted in service. He co-owned an insurance agency, volunteered across Missouri, and remained active in politics. Twice, he ran for office, believing leadership, like music, was another way to serve people. His passion for community earned him the nickname, the Voice of Missouri. But Neal's greatest contribution came from his generosity. In 2015, he founded the Neal E. Boyd Endowed Scholarship in Performing Arts at Southeast Missouri State University, ensuring that students who faced the same struggles he once did could chase their dreams without fear. Behind the spotlight, however, Neal's health began to decline. Years of pushing his limits took a toll on his body. On June 10, 2018, at just 42 years old, he passed away in his mother's home from heart failure, worsened by kidney and liver complications. The news broke hearts across the nation. Tributes poured in from all corners. former judges, fans, fellow contestants, and friends. America's Got Talent released a statement mourning the loss of one of its family members. His former judge, Piers Morgan, remembered him as a lovely man with a wonderful voice. 10 years after his win, the Southeast Missourian wrote, "Boyd lived a short life, but left behind a legacy of hard work, dedication, and passion." Number 5. Lys Agn&egrave. As a child, Lys Agn&egrave discovered her own gift almost by accident. In the basement of her home, she would sing into a tape recorder and play it back, slowly realizing that her voice actually sounded nice. By high school, her talent began to surface. She was chosen to sing the national anthem at basketball games, a small stage that hinted at the greatness she would one day command before millions. But her path was never without shadows. Tragedy struck when her fiancé, Darren, passed away suddenly in a car accident in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Overcome with grief, Lys abandoned music for 2 years, drifting through life, taking odd jobs, and hiding from the world she once longed to embrace. For a time, she felt her voice had been silenced forever. Yet, as it often does, grief became the spark for rediscovery. Lys realized that surrendering her art was surrendering herself. She returned to music not for fame, but to reclaim the part of her soul that had been lost. Her audition for the 6th season of America's Got Talent marked that turning point. Singing Ave Maria, her voice moved judges and audience alike, revealing both her precision and vulnerability. Each performance thereafter escalated in intensity. Habanera carried her to the semifinals. Bring Me to Life showed her readiness to confront fear and raw emotion, and Dream On in the finals left audiences awestruck by her courage and artistry. Though she did not win, Lys's presence on the show was indelible, a rare fusion of classical technique and unguarded heart. Beyond the competition, Lys pursued creativity in every form, from music to film, even appearing as a mermaid wedding singer in Bad Fish. But life's fragility returned. On February 8, 2024, Lys Agn&egrave passed away in Arcata, California, at the age of 40. As of now, the exact cause of her death remains undisclosed. Her obituary, also published by the North Coast Journal, does not mention a specific reason. From someone whose journey was shaped by grief, we now turn to a young performer whose spirit and rhythm lit up every room she entered. Number 4. Emily Gold. For Emily Gold, a 17-year-old high school senior from California, dance was everything. She wasn't just a performer, she was a leader, the heartbeat of her school's varsity dance team, and someone who lit up every room she entered. Her love for dance began early and quickly became the defining rhythm of her life. Every routine was more than choreography. It was expression, freedom, and joy. By high school, she had become the cornerstone of her team, turning ordinary performances into something unforgettable. When Los Osos High School's dance team earned the chance to audition for America's Got Talent, it was the culmination of years of discipline and dreaming. Stepping onto the AGT stage, Emily radiated confidence, her smile carrying the spirit of someone who believed in teamwork, perseverance, and sharing art with the world. Even under the bright lights and before millions, she moved with a natural grace that made her seem both unstoppable and grounded. Yet beneath that exterior, Emily carried a weight few could see. The pressure to excel academically, lead her team, and meet every expectation had grown relentless. Behind the laughter and flawless routines, a private struggle simmered, a feeling of needing to be everything for everyone, silently choking her from within. Her talent and energy captivated judges and audiences alike. Simon Cowell praised the team's quarterfinal performance as absolutely brilliant, comparing their spirit to that of High School Musical, and celebrating not only skill, but also friendship and camaraderie. Emily focused on every nuance, striving for perfection even as the weight of responsibility pressed down on her. Tragedy struck on September 13, 2024. Late that night, Emily was found in the eastbound lanes of the 210 freeway, hit by a vehicle and pronounced deceased at the scene. The news shocked her friends, family, and the AGT community. How could someone so full of light, so vibrant, be struggling so profoundly in silence? In the wake of her passing, her loved ones organized a GoFundMe to support her family, a reflection of the deep bond and impact Emily had on everyone around her. While one young performer used rhythm to shine, the next turned personal struggles into songs that touched countless lives. Number 3. Skilyr Hicks. By the age of 14, Skilyr Hicks had already learned to play guitar, written more than 20 original songs, and performed in over 100 shows. With her guitar in hand, she auditioned for Season 8 of America's Got Talent, performing an original song for her father. The judges responded with 4 yeses, and the young girl from South Carolina had turned private heartbreak into something universally touching. Fans were captivated not just by her talent, but also by the courage she displayed. Skilyr became proof that even the youngest could carry wisdom and emotion far beyond their years. Yet behind the viral videos and applause, the challenges of adolescence and personal grief were never far away. After her AGT appearance, she released a 9-track album, Brand New Day, and contributed to the 12 Bands of Christmas, Volume 10. She continued sharing music online, covering classics like Christina Aguilera's Say Something and Bob Dylan's Make You Feel My Love. Even as her talent blossomed, her life remained turbulent. In April 2015, she went missing after school, prompting her mother to seek help from the public on Facebook. She was found later that same day. She went missing again in May 2021, with police requesting public assistance in locating her. Authorities noted that at the time, Hicks was struggling with mental health challenges. She was found 5 days later. Hicks also faced legal troubles throughout her life. In 2017, she was arrested and jailed for more than 10 days after assaulting 3 family members while intoxicated. In November 2018, she was arrested for underage drinking and subsequently failed to appear in court on multiple occasions. Tragically, on December 6, 2021, Hicks was found unresponsive at a friend's house in Liberty, South Carolina, from what authorities described as a possible overdose. Though her life was tragically cut short, her music and appearance on America's Got Talent will be remembered by all. Number 2. Bernie Barker. At 65, Bernie Barker stepped onto the AGT stage not as a singer or dancer, but as a stripper, an act that seemed novel, yet carried deeper meaning. Before the spotlight, he had built a disciplined career as a nuclear engineer, specializing in radiation protection. His intellect and scientific rigor gave him the confidence to embrace a dual identity, one grounded in stability, the other in fearless self-expression. Bernie began stripping at 60, initially to regain fitness after battling prostate cancer. By 2004, he had won 42 striptease contests and found a home on stage, performing at venues like the Hard Rock Cafe in Las Vegas. He became the world's oldest male stripper, thrilling audiences with charisma, humor, and showmanship, challenging society's expectations of age and masculinity. In Season 1 of AGT in 2006, he appeared in cowboy boots, black bedazzled trousers, an unbuttoned shirt, a black cowboy hat, and sunglasses. Introducing himself, he announced, "My name's Bernie Barker. I'm the world's oldest male stripper." Shock and laughter rippled through the audience, while David Hasselhoff declared, "This is talent," giving Bernie a resounding yes. Dancing to Ricky Martin's She Bangs while waving a glow stick, Bernie performed with energy and joy that defied his age. He promised afterwards that America had only seen a glimpse of what he could do. Despite the applause, his AGT journey ended at the semi-finals, but his brief time on the show cemented a legacy of courage and authenticity. Sadly, Bernie's story was cut short. On March 21, 2007, barely a year after his television debut, he passed away at 66 from prostate cancer. Number 1. Kabir Singh. As a semi-finalist on Season 16 of America's Got Talent, Kabir Singh's rise in comedy was remarkable. Born in Portland to Indian parents, he discovered early that humor could be a lifeline. At 9, he moved briefly to Bombay, where he learned to make people laugh in 3 languages, navigating a new world with wit as his bridge. That early versatility carried him to performances on Comedy Central's Stand Up Revolution, Family Guy, Stars, and Amazon Prime. Singh's America's Got Talent journey in 2021 marked a career highlight. His audition, an energetic stand-up routine, won unanimous approval from Howie Mandel, Heidi Klum, Sofia Vergara, and Simon Cowell, sending him to the top 36. In the quarterfinals, he blended personal humor with sharp social observations, joking about his mother learning to text, the absence of Indians on Deal or No Deal, and series biases, earning enough votes in the instant, save to reach the semifinals. In the semifinals, Singh's performance explored dating, family, and daily quirks with his signature timing. Though he did not advance to the finals, his humor left a lasting impression, connecting deeply with audiences who saw themselves in his stories. Behind the laughter, Singh lived quietly. On December 4, 2024, he was found lifeless at 39 in his Pleasanton, California home. Authorities suspect natural causes, with a toxicology report pending. Friends confirmed he passed peacefully in his sleep. Despite health concerns, he remained active on stage, performing as recently as November 2nd in Manteca, California. His loss was deeply felt. Close friend Jeremy Curry shared a photo of them smiling together, announcing that funeral services would be held on December 14th in Hayward, California, and asking for thoughts and prayers for Singh's fiancée and loved ones, signing off with, "I love you, bro." Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.